Hi, everybody. How are you tonight? Oh my goodness. Look at this. There we go. Good to see you guys. Welcome to Thursday night. I've had a great day. I hope you guys have too. It's been going since early, but it's been a good day. Really good day. I got some stuff done. I got the opening video done, and I got the music to do what I wanted it to do, and I found a song that went with it. Whoa! Didn't get any photo editing done, but that wasn't my goal today. And just, yeah, good stuff. Good to see everybody here. Oh, yeah, so let's check in. Who's all here? Okay, where's my, there it is. My chat. Linda's here. Linda's like first to the party. Yay. Yes. She's the one who always shows up early and helps you get those last final things done, right? Right. That's Linda. And Tamara's here. How are you, Tamara? Good to have you here. I talked to Gail on a message. She had seen my short and on the rock and roller coaster. And then she'd seen the Time to Hide, so she'd made comments. So I was chatting with her on in comments on that on YouTube. But so Tamara's here. There's Fatima, Travel Dreamer 46. I always wonder what the 46 is for. I don't know. Maybe she'll let us in on the hint. Fatima might. Tamara. And there's Lupe. Hey, Lupe, how are you? How is New Mexico doing? I was watching a YouTube on a guy photographing birds at the Bosque del Apache. Did I say that right? It's a big preserve down there I think in New Mexico with lots of birds and stuff. Yeah, so one of the places I would love to go. There is Linda. Oh, Anthony is here. How are you today? I didn't catch any painting today from Anthony. I don't know if he painted today, but I was doing other stuff. But Friday, that's the day. I have other stuff. Gail sounded fine. I'm gonna I need to send her another email. Maybe need to call her. I think I'll call her tomorrow. She has is spending her mom's in rehab right now in the rehabilitation from the whole stroke and whatnot that she's had, and she's there for like I think 20 days is what Gail said, and then but Gail has to learn how to do all this stuff because then her mom will come to her house. So her days are long and she's spending a lot of time there. So anyway, there and Anthony, a highway? No, Bosque del Apache. It's like a, I think it's like, it's a place where the birds come in and all kinds of ones. I'll have to look it up and I'll send you a message if I can find it again. Let's see. There we go. Awesome place, she says. Lupe says it's an awesome place. I want to go so badly. I mean, I didn't think that I would be a big bird photographer type of whatnot, but I mean, I've photographed our snow geese when the snow geese and the other ones come up here because we get thousands of snow geese in this in the Sammamish Valley, or not in the Sammamish Valley, it's in the Skagit Valley, and they just they come in like crazy. And I've gone up there. I'm in the OG Mexico. I thought you were in New Mexico. Huh. Okay. No painting for a while. Have a comic to draw. Ooh. Oh my gosh. Okay, so comic to draw. See that? Hi, Gretchen. Remember I told you guys the other day about when we were talking about comics and I said Bob's friend that when he was in fourth grade, he had a comic strip with his buddy Jim Mencken called The Adventures of Chef and Butterball, because everybody called him Chef, even though it's Shep, called him Chef, and Mencken was Butterball. And literally, after I mentioned that to him, and Bob sent him a message about Jeffrey's passing, we get this big package in the mail yesterday from Mencken. Literally, Bob said, "What, is he in fourth grade still?" Because the whole cover of the cardboard was all he had, goofy drawings, and he had ripped up and cut up file folders. And he sent me a note that said, "Hi, Gretchen," and he drew a little face on it. So the comics are back. It was so great to see him just for a couple of weeks. Oh, okay. Oh, Highway for the 46. I went to Camp Audubon on an island, lots of birds. You should go there to photograph birds. Puffins are so cute. Yeah. So, my goodness. Well, you guys, I'm so glad you're here, because tonight I decided, so voice level it sounds good to me. Let me know if it all sounds good to you. Just give me that old thumbs up that the sound's all right. But today, I was thinking about yesterday being, International Women's History Week, and then this is whole Women's History Month. I wanted to find a good book that just fit in so many different ways, and I found one, and then I have another little bit of stuff to share with you too that I think is fascinating as a photographer, but as artists, and you guys will love this. So the book that I have for us tonight is an autobiography of Roberta Flack. Yes, it's an autobiography of Roberta Flack. It is by, let me get here to the right scene. There we go. So she wrote it with Tanya Bolden, and Tanya Bolden has written some amazing books. The book I'm going to read tonight is called The Green Piano, How Little Me Found Music. But Tanya Bolden has written these other books too, Rock Roll Rosetta Roll, presenting Sister Rosetta Tharpe, the godmother of rock and roll. She has a book called Going Places Out about Victor Hugo Green and his glorious book. She has a book called Dovey Undaunted, A Black Woman Breaks Barriers in the Law, the Military, and the Ministry. She has one here. I'm not sure if this one was Speak Up. This is a chapter book, 144-page chapter book. Speak Up, Speak Out, The Extraordinary Life of Fighting Shirley Chisholm. And I thought that was she's just some amazing books. I liked on her website how she had this, against all odds, this gutsy Brooklyn lady who championed legislation for racial and gender equality and more, had the audacity to run for the U.S. presidency. Who is she? And that it has this little great thing about that, and it's about Shirley Chisholm. But about Tanya Bolden, she is, let's see about her. Welcome to Tanya Bolden Books, where we focus exclusively on the works of award-winning author Tanya Bolden. Where I thought I had more about her someplace. Home. Well, it doesn't have that much about her there. Maybe it has something in the book. I thought I read something about her where, oh well. Anyway, the illustrator is Hayden Goodman. And she's really fascinating. She is, an African-American painter, an editorial illustrator, and children's book illustrator born and raised in the woods of Western Massachusetts. She works primarily in gouache, painting witches, fairies, goblins, and other mysterious creatures from mythology and folklore. Previously, Hayden has worked as a character artist at Titmouse Incorporated, and she's got this book, The Green Piano. She's got some upcoming work coming out. She's got a book called Fangs, Feathers, and Folklore, a middle grade field guide to mythological African beasts, written by B. Charisse Moore. Oh, that sounds fascinating. Anyway, I just found this book and I kind of went gaga, loved it. It's just really, Roberta Flack is always, I've always loved her music. Kind of grew up listening to that, but it's just, I think you're going to really enjoy this book. So and I learned, look at something new I learned, you guys. I can make the bigger so that you guys can get even more of it. I think, did I have two? Yep, there it is. Yes, so are you ready for the story? I am. The Green Piano, How Little Me Found Music. Come on. There we go. By Roberta Flack, written with Tanya Bolden, and illustrated by Hayden Goodman. Little me in my Blue Ridge mountain town of Asheville, North Carolina, living on a street named Velvet, then on one named Circle. I didn't have fancy, fine clothes, high-priced toys, or other richy rich things. But I had music, my treasure, my gold. Daddy, his name was Laurent. At one time a waiter, at one time a cook, and later a builder. Had taught himself to play piano, harmonica too. And mother, her name was Irene, a maid for a time, had taken some music lessons as a child, and now played the organ at our church. Piano too. At age 3, maybe 4, there was me at the keys of that church piano. I'd use my elbows on the ebonies because my fingers were too short. Mother and Daddy were so tickled by that and so proud of me. I imagined an entire congregation listening to me play hymns like Precious Lord, Take My Hand, and even songs I heard on the radio like A Tisket, A Tasket. And I dreamed of having my own piano. Dreamed of my own piano when I tapped out tunes, windowsills. Dreamed of that piano when, with my slight voice, I sailed into sing-alongs with Big Sister Nancy and Little Sister Lorene. Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star was a favorite. Older me, age 6, started taking piano lessons from a mighty fine lady with a noble sounding name, Mrs. Hightower. And when Mrs. Hightower heard that we were moving, you must make sure Roberta continues her piano lessons when you get up there. Up there was Virginia, a place called Green Valley, in a home where mother, daddy, neighbors, friends made music together, offering up soul-soothing harmonica tunes, playing the spoons, singing love right into our living room. With me still dreaming of my very own piano. Then one day, not many miles away in Washington, D.C., Daddy spied something in a junkyard he was passing by. Something that brought a glistening to his eye. Something he just knew would make 9-year-old me burst into 1,000 smiles. A piano. A small, upright piano. Old, ratty, beat-up, weather-worn, faded thing. Its ivory's terribly stained, and it stank. But Daddy, he saw treasure. He saw gold. "Can I have it?" he eagerly asked the junkyard man. "Come and get it," the man replied with a shrug. Lickety-split, Daddy huddled up help to haul that piano here. When I first saw my piano, I saw a miracle. Daddy put all his into fixing up that old, ratty, beat-up, weather-worn, faded, stained, stanky thing. "When can I play it?" That was me as he cleaned it with Mother lending a helping hand. "When can I play it?" That was me as he tuned it. "When can I play it?" That was me as Daddy painted that piano a grassy green. I couldn't wait for that paint to dry. And then, gently, I touched the keys, my green piano, already a part of me, notes flowing through my fingers into my body. I practiced for hours and hours, teaching myself to play songs from the radio like "Let It Snow, Let It Snow, Let It Snow." Teaching myself to play songs from church like "Amazing Grace." Taking piano lessons again from Alma Blackman, a top teacher in D.C. Soon my fingers, longer, stronger, graceful, were gliding into songs like Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata and Handel's Messiah. Soon, when I sang along to songs, my voice was no longer slight, but stronger and richer and smoother. And soon, I had an even bigger dream of a life all wrapped up in the majesty and magic of music, my treasure, my gold. Grown-up me lived this dream year after year after year. Along the way, I never forgot the joy, the miracle, the wonder, the blessing of my green piano. Isn't that cool? I love that last picture with all the notes going across. Okay, then let's see if I can get this so that I can read it even better here. So here's the author's note. I kind of have to lean forward to read this. When I was growing up in Green Valley in the 1940s, I never dreamed of becoming a singer. As I played my green piano, studied with the amazing Alma Blackman, and accompanied the choir at my family church, I dreamed of performing on grand stages, playing the works of Beethoven and other composers of classical music. I dreamed of becoming a concert pianist. That was my dream at Hoffman Boston High School, where my senior class voted me the most musical. That was my dream when I entered Howard University at the age of 15 on a full music scholarship. That was still my dream when I graduated in 1958 with a bachelor's degree in music education. But life had other plans for me. 4 years later, in 1962, I was teaching music at a junior high school in Washington, D.C. Thanks to Miss Alma, I also landed a part-time job playing the piano at Tivoli Opera Restaurant in Georgetown. I loved being around those opera singers so much so that I began taking voice lessons with the legendary Frederick Wilkie Wilkerson. But one day Wilkie told me, "Your voice is better for pop music than for opera." I was crushed. I walked away from Wilkie, walked away from the song. Then after some reflection, I thought, maybe he's right. Back to Wilkie I went, and I learned to sing popular songs of the time, and I found my voice. One night at Tivoli, after all the guests had gone, Henry Jaffe, the owner, overheard me singing a mellow song to the opera singers. "You can sing that stuff at intermissions," he said to me, so I did. Before long, I was singing on Sunday afternoon in Henry's ground floor club. Mr. Henry's on Capitol Hill. I saw that people were moved by my singing, and I wanted to do more. After Henry agreed to let me perform 3 nights a week, I resigned from teaching to devote all my energy to music, music, music. Devote myself to practicing. Devote myself to giving every performance my all. Connecting with the audience through songs about sorrows, joy, and love. From the blues to rock and to folk, soul, and jazz, I sang it all. My audience grew and so large that Henry created Roberta's room upstairs in his club. There I sang and played the piano, backed by a bass player, a drummer, and eventually a guitarist. 5 nights a week, 3 shows a night. It was exhausting but exhilarating at the same time. The great jazz pianist and singer Les McCann came to see me in a benefit concert I gave for a local child care center and worked overtime to give me an audition with Atlantic Records. That led to my first album, First Take, released in 1969, which included The First Time Ever I Saw Your Face. The song became a hit. Over the years, I was blessed to sing more songs that became hits and won awards. I performed all over the country and all over the world. I also gave back. In 2006, I established the Roberta Flack School of Music at the Hyde Leadership Charter School in the Bronx in New York City, offering free music education to elementary and middle schoolers. A few years later came the Roberta Flack Foundation, devoted to, among other things, helping children, especially girls of color, with their music education. Through this amazing journey of mine, that once little girl me, who so cherished her green piano, was always by my side. I decided to tell a story about my green piano because I want all the young people who have ever felt marginalized, overwhelmed, bullied, or discriminated against to know that they can make their dreams come true. Find your own green piano and practice relentlessly until you find your voice and find a way to put that beautiful music into the world. Oops. That was something else. I don't know about you guys, but I loved that book. I just loved it. The fact of how determined, how much she put into that, about that, how much that piano meant. And I could just feel how excited she was when her dad was fixing it and cleaning it up and everything else that she had to do. Oh my goodness. Hi, Angie and Larry. Hi, how you doing? Oh, they made it in. They made it in time for the story, I think. Larry to the corner with you. Oh, so anyway, that was called the Green Piano, How Little Me Found Music. And I found it amazing. I think it's so great that she did that by popping it out, having somebody help her with a book. You know, that's not the things that was the whole was her forte, was necessarily writing, but she had this story to tell. And then to choose Tanya Bolden, whose works are really amazing, I think that was great. And then to match it up with Hayden Goodman is just, I loved it. Yay. There's everybody checking in. So I'm going to go get down to the bottom of she's 86 now. Is that true? Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. That is amazing. I'll have to ask my friend Valerie if she's ever met her. My friend Valerie Pinkston is a backup singer. I think I told you guys that. She's like, she was with the three women that were the backup singers for the Grammys. She's backed up. She did a world tour with Diana Ross and all kinds of stuff like that. But I wonder if she's ever sang with Roberta Flack. I'll have to ask her that. Okay, now. Yeah. Great options with, oh, Violet, hi, how are you? Nice to have you here. Thank you for coming in. Welcome. So, I have something else to share with you, and it's very different, and this is, let's see if I can get this to, yeah, I'm gonna share a little bit about a couple of photographers. And it's not a story, it's not a book, but I wanted to show you a book and also talk about this. And wonder if anybody knows who Anna Atkins is. I gave you a hint because I already said photographers. But she's not very well known. But she actually published the first book of photography ever, of photographs ever. She's not like I said, not well known, but I'm going to show you some stuff of hers, and I'm going to try to, actually, I'm going to do this. Let me show you this, and then I'm going to pull this page over here for me. Hold it. What did I do? Okay, that'll work. Yeah. See, because then I can still read the stuff I want to read to you. So Anna Atkins, she was born in 1799, and she captured pictures of plants, shells, and algae, ghostly wisps, and ravishing blues. Why isn't she famous? She was this was written in 2017. There's been works of hers at MoMA and different places, but I just wanted to show you guys this. Photography pioneer conjures up an image of a Victorian gentleman under a drape with an outsized wooden box on a tripod. Yet one of the biggest landmark moments of early photography was down to a woman who didn't even use a camera. Yeah. And she was born decades before Victoria became queen. Anna Atkins is considered to have been the first female photographer. She was born in Kent in 1799. She made her most significant contribution across 10 years in the mid-19th century when she created at least 10,000 images by hand. But it was what she did with those pictures that gave her a place in history. She realized what millions of social media users know today is that images are for sharing, and she created the first book to contain photographs. And she paved the way for photography's power to connect people. Atkins' book is the highlight of a major retrospective of 19th century photography that was back in Amsterdam. That was back in 2017. It shines a light on an artist whose legacy was, like so many women who played their part in the creation of art, woefully overlooked for many years. Dr. Hans Rosenblum, curator of photography at the museum, says it was not until the 1970s, more than a century after her death, that art historians uncovered her role. Until then, the history of photography, and particularly the contribution of Atkins, had received very little attention. It talks about that she and her father were particularly close because her mother had died a few months after she was born. Her father was a scientist, that he believed that a daughter could do whatever a son could do, and he fostered her interest in botany. Um, and she did these amazing cyanotypes. Just, oh, gosh. It says, but his contacts that helped his daughter the most. In February 1839, he was present at a Royal Society meeting in which the Wiltshire landowner William Henry Fox Talbot outlined his exciting new invention, the creation of photograms that used chemicals and sunlight to create images on paper. I just watched a British documentary on him, on British photography, that used chemicals and sunlight to create images on paper. And that led to the development of camera-made images. Anna's fascination with nature had seen her drawing shells and plants laboriously by hand to record them accurately. And the implications of this new way of producing images was not lost on children. That was her father, who hurried home to share what he had heard. A few months later, children wrote to Talbot that my daughter and I shall set to work in good earnest till we completely succeed in practicing your invaluable process. She was married to a railroad promoter called John Pelly Atkins in 1825 and was later influenced by another photography pioneer, Sir John Herschel, which I have something related to him too. In 1842, Herschel sent children a copy of his paper describing the refinement of Talbot's process and involving two chemical compounds, the cyanotype, aluminum ferric citrate and potassium ferricyanide, which was applied to a sheet of paper with a brush. Once it had been exposed to enough light, the paper was washed in water, but the image of the object remained behind. So you can see she had an interest in the study of algae that prompted her book. But this kind of stuff just blows me away. These images that she has are all from the the 1840s. It's so cool. There she is. It says something about a book here that she did with someone. Every one of the 307 images in the Rijksmuseum copy of the book was produced by hand by Atkins, since each of the 12 or so copies of her book was a bespoke production. Oh my gosh. Okay, so all right, bang. That's what I wanted to show you. I wanted to show you her work. Early women in history, very little known, just amazing type of work that she did. Now, next, I have one more little thing to share here. Okay. And get this to show. Oops, wrong thing. There. Okay. Here I am. So this book is called Women Photographers. And it's not a picture book to show you guys to share, but I wanted to kind of what I do, my little light reading that I tend to play around with. But one of the people that that's connected to this other lady, which I said that Sir John Herschel. Okay, so this is Julia Margaret Cameron, and she was born in 1815 in Calcutta, and she died in 1879 in Ceylon. She was countless places for fateful meetings on the earth, and yet is not just any place but the Cape of Good Hope that gained particular significance for Julia Margaret Paddle. It was here in 1836 that she met the widowed middle-aged jurist Charles Hay Cameron and the astronomer Sir John Herschel, who is the one from Anna Atkins talked about that her father had found. She also made discoveries of significance to photography, or who also made discoveries of significance to photography. The young woman married the jurist later, and soon she received a letter from the astronomer containing something she'd never held in her hands, photographs Cameron and Herschel became friends, and their acquaintance endured until the end of his life. Cameron was living in India, the country of her birth, where she received the letter. Born of anyway, she had gone, Her husband, too, had already lived in India for many years. So on and on. It says the couple moved to London shortly afterwards to Kent before finally settling on the country estate of Isle of Wight. In 1863, they spent an extended period of time again in Ceylon, and she was overcome by a deep depression. And the mother of 6 children was given a plate camera by her oldest daughter during this difficult period. And the 48-year-old, who had never taken a picture in her life, now began to photograph. Without further ado, she transformed the coal cellar into a dark room. Yes, and set up her studio in a greenhouse that had until then served as a hen house. At first, some of her photographs were blurred and not all her prints were developed successfully. And again, the developer's solution dripped onto the table when she would bring it into show. Anyway, my aspirations are to ennoble photography and to secure it for the character and uses of high art by combining the real and ideal and sacrificing nothing of truth by all possible devotion to poetry and beauty. As early as 1865, Julia Margaret Cameron held her first exhibition in London, and she kind of got slammed, where her photographs, many of which had protected with copyright, were offered for sale. But Cameron and her admirers referred to it as art was sharply rebuked by critics. The intentional blurred appearance of many of her photographs and the long exposure times were accordingly judged as technical mistakes. So, but here's what goes on. Like, this is a photograph that she did in 1867, and it was a study from an Iago, wrapped in velvet with a lowered gaze, a masterful interplay of light and shadow, sharp focus, blurriness. This is how Cameron staged the Italian as a fascinating figure from Shakespeare's Othello, the vengeful intriguer Iago. It says she was personally acquainted with some members of the pre-Raphael. Oh, let's see. Cameron created photograph portraits of the intelligentsia of her time, took photographs of landscapes and architecture, and repeatedly photographed young women. Their untied hair, simple robes, and melancholy, dreamy gaze, and reminiscent of the portraits of women by the pre-Raphaelites. Cameron was personally acquainted with some of the members of the group of the artists, including the painter and poet Dante Gabriel Rossetti. Her models also reveal Cameron's enthusiasm for painters of the Renaissance and the Rembrandt. However, she staged them as Christian, mythological, and literary figures. And so this one was great. In 1875, she created a series based on the cycle of poems about King Arthur legend written by her neighbor and friend, Alfred Tennyson. In that same year, Cameron finally moved for good to Ceylon with her husband, and only a small number of photographs was taken there. Her models were no longer artist friends or relatives, but domestic servants or plantation workers. And that's where she died at the age of 63. So there's this one. This photograph is that guy, Sir John Herschel, who Anna Atkins found out about what he had done, was a friend of her father's. Cameron created portraits of many intellectuals of the time. Sir John Herschel, the astronomer. She staged several of her models as biblical and whatnot. She did Tennyson as a monk and Cameron's husband as the magician Merlin. And she made life-size prints of many of these portraits. But this one, I have to turn on the light to show you. Okay, talk about the way people were connected. My favorite picture of all my works is my niece Julia Jackson in 1867. Who is Julia Jackson? All those who were photographed by Cameron needed patience and self-control. In this case, it is her niece, Julia Jackson, the mother of Virginia Woolf. What? The long exposure times required to model, you had to sit for several minutes in order to capture the image on the glass plate. The glass plate was first coated with collodion, dipped in a silver nitrate bath, and placed inside the camera while still wet. After exposure, the still damp plate had to be developed with gallic acid and quickly fixed with sodium thiosulfate. Countless paper prints could then be made from the negative. Okay. Gretchen's geeked out on you enough. I'm sorry, I had to. I had to geek out about women in history and just, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I just geeked out on you completely. But I found it so fascinating, these connections that they have from Anna Atkins to her father being in this scientific group, to being one of these forward thinkers who met this astronomer who was tied to Talbot, and then later they become friends. It's just, whew. And her niece is the mother of Virginia Woolf. Yikes. The people you meet. Look at this group here and here. I mean, we got quite the group here in our little chat going on. I mean, who knows what they're going to write about us in 200 years. Yeah. Anyway, you guys, that was my story tonight. The green piano. How little me found music. The story of Roberta Flack. And my little bit of geek out on women in history, on women photographers. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. But anyway, yeah, she looks happy at that dream piano. I'm glad you liked the story. And I'm catching up with everybody. Yay, Violet, I'm so glad you joined us. It's really nice. Larry Crunchberry is my better half, Angie. Grayscale is Anthony. Fatima, yes. Intricacies of the ferns are amazing. Yes, that kind of paper is fun. I used to do it with my class all the time and the kids and do them. This old method of cyanotype that they back in the 1800s, where the stuff we have now, it develops rather quickly. You can put it out there. You can have something out in the sun and have it exposed, and you can leave it out for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, half an hour at the most. Some of this stuff you had to leave it out for an entire day before it even began to take an image. And it's just amazing. Yes. Yes, Larry out of the corner. Oh, Violet, I'm glad you lurk and enjoy. We like our lurkers. We really do. So, and thank you guys for so many of you who stopped by and took a look at my shorts that I'm doing on the Africa trip. I have the 2 shorts. I did the first one, and then the second one was a 3-minute. And the third one is a short again, just a minute. But the last one with the rock and rollers, because the roller coaster ride, but it was fun. It was great. It was really nice of you and all the comments. So I'm trying to put one of those out once a week. Yeah, that's kind of my thing. Lord Tennyson, I know. You'll be telling us she's 45 degrees from Kevin Bacon. I know, Violet. But it just I had read the bit about Anna Atkins, and I kind of glossed over the part about whatever that Lord, what's his face guy's name was, Herschel. But then it popped out when I had gone back and read Julia Margaret Cameron's information again. Yeah, this book I've had for a bit of time, and it's really got women photographers from Julia Margaret Cameron to Cindy Sherman, and it just Imogene Cunningham's in it. Which local Seattle lady. Imogene Cunningham has this fabulous quote. Women are not trying to outdo the men by entering the professions. They are simply trying to do something for themselves. Because, yeah, that was a whole nother thing. Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing stuff. Anyway, you guys, I'm going to go look at that stuff some more. But I want a room with a view. Oh, yeah. I'm glad you liked it, Tamara. Thank you. Mint tea and cookie journal. Oh, Violet, did a miniature mint tea and cookie journal? Oh, I have to check that out. Bailey, hi. Oh my gosh, Bailey Phillips is here, you guys. Bailey is in my creative work hour group. He is a musician. He's a flautist and other things. He's also composes music. I think he's on spring break right now, if I remember right. He's kind of slacking. No, but yeah, so he's in my early morning creative work hour and oftentimes. But Bailey, thank you for joining me. So I'm glad you could join our things. I can Tamara, that's okay. You can type my name however you think. I'm always hitting the wrong things. I want to be known as a friend to the awesome watercolorist. Yes, Mr. Larry, the awesome watercolorist, and well, everybody else here too, the amazing fluid artists and everybody else who does things. And Violet apparently does mint and tea journals. I'm going to have to check that. And Fatima's stuff. Oh my goodness. And Bailey now with musician. Yes, and of course, Linda, you're writing. And then Tamara Tamara's amazing art all over the place. Yes, it's so great. And Lupe with her all kinds of everything. I mean, just every day. When I grow up, can I be Lupe and put out a video every day? Oh, I did that for a year, didn't I? Oh, never mind. I've already done there. Just kidding. Oh, you guys. All right. So that was story time tonight. Don't forget that. Okay, now I can put this thing up. Where's my overlay panel? There we go. Sunday is show and tell and story night. So send any art, anything you've been working on, into my email, imagesbygretchen@icloud.com, with live art in the subject line, if you could, please. That helps me sort it. And if you can get it to me by at least an hour before we start, then I can get you into the right spot and make sure that I have a scene for you and your art so that we can all look at it and stuff. Yes. It was almost over. So it's fun though. Super awesome. Thank you. Yeah, Bailey, I have an amazing community. Absolutely amazing community. Did you hear? So editing is lacking. Oh, editing. See, Lupe, that's why I do live. It takes me a whole week to do it. Editing on a literally a minute long short to get around to doing it. And I only get it done because it's part of my homework for a class I'm in that's due Thursday morning, and I'm afraid Keely's going to yell at me in the morning if I don't have it. So on Wednesday, I get it out. Yeah. Yeah. We don't call her Command K for nothing. Anyway. Oh, yay. I want to see those cards. Good job. Yes. And, oh, Linda's bucket is overflowing. All right, you guys. It has been so delightful to be here. Thank you for putting up with my geeking out on photography, and women's history. And just, it's so fascinating to see how much influence women really did have in photography, and especially when the Brownie camera came out, that first little Brownie camera. It was so inexpensive, and it became the thing that women had a hobby to do in the 20s. And that's how my great aunt was doing it and everything. And my grandmother, seriously, it was like, woohoo, something that they could do. And the darkroom, of course, Grandma always said, yeah, we developed a lot of things in that dark room. My dad would just go, Mom, Mother. And she'd go, oh, Sonny. That's what she called my dad. She called him Sonny. Yes, my grandmother and grandfather had a dark room in their house. And that's what she would talk about, how much fun it was developing in the dark room. And I'm like, Grandma, no. Oh my God, I would laugh. My dad would be totally embarrassed, but that's the way it is. Anyway, you guys, it has been so much fun to be here. Thank you for listening to the story about Roberta Flack, the green piano. It was wonderful. It's so fun to see those autobiographies and to know that they're done in picture books for kids to get a little bit. What I loved about that book is that she went into just enough detail. And the way she left it was how much music had given to her. And then when you got to read the after part, how much she's given back. But you got that feeling that it was so important to her and what she had done. So, yes, Angie and Larry at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, an hour and a half before I go. And for fun, live, and frivolities and friskiness on Crunchberry's Playhouse. And until next time, you guys, you know what to do. Keep looking for the beauty hidden in plain sight. It's all around you. But the first place you'll find it is when you go look in the mirror. Until Sunday. Let's dance this party out.
In the heat of the night, we could get lost in all the lights and sounds. Feeling alright, we won't go home, we will just stay.
Grandmas are awesome.
There's not just stars on the boulevard, they're in the light in your eyes. Oh, we don't need no black cards, I just need you by my side. We could be shameless, famous,